Man up. Grow a pair. Stop being such a wuss, will ya? Okay. Now give me a hands up if you've ever heard those things being said. Okay. Now here's a big test. Keep your hands up if you've ever said those things yourself. You wicked people. Yeah, that includes me as well. And that's because these are normal things people say, right? And they're examples of the social policing of men's emotions in our society. Social policing of men's emotions. Now, this is a talk around masculinity. It's also a talk about the need for men to have greater emotional intimacy with other men. Now, before I lose half of you, or there's a lot of women here this evening, before you completely switch off, this is about enabling the men in your life to experience greater emotional intimacy. Now, I stand here now recognising that there are privileges to being a man in our society, but there are costs too. And one of those is this, I believe, the inability for many of us to have a real strong, authentic connection with other men. Let me ask you a question. When you really need strong emotional support around you, who do you turn to? Yeah, God bless moms. Yeah, think about that. Who do you have around you? Now, I believe, and actually research suggests, that women are much more likely to have those in place and are much more likely to lean into those friendships too when they need it. And men are less likely to. So this comes from the work of Dr. Robert Garfield. I'll mention a few books tonight, and this is one of them. His book's called Unlocking the Male Code. And his research suggests that men are less likely to lean into those friendships and have a depth of connection. Why? Why is that? Because we're taught to be strong. We're taught to keep our cards close to our chest. But I believe that men do need emotional intimacy. I fundamentally believe this. So, come with me back to 1988. Wembley Stadium, as it was, it was myself and my best mate, 16-year-olds we are, and we're there to see Michael Jackson, the band tour. And it was an unbelievable gig. 72,000 other people were there with us. And I remember the last song, the lights came down. And he started singing Man in the Mirror, some of you may know it. And I remember feeling this overwhelming sense of emotion. And I looked around and people had their lighters on, and I felt like I was going to cry. And I looked at my mate, and I was completely stony-faced. I thought, shit. Okay, it was about to pour out of me, so I'm desperately trying not to cry, but a lump in my throat, and shoving it back down into my body. Just about got away with it. But I thought I'd be brave. On the way home, I thought I'd share this experience with him. So I said, you know that last song, Man in the Mirror? It was quite emotional, wasn't it? No, not really. I could have cried, to be honest. You what? Yeah, honestly, I could have cried. You was. Now the next day at school, everybody is ripping me for it. Mickey taken out on me, left, right and centre. But I didn't think that was a particularly bad thing of my friend to do, because you know what? That's just kind of how lads were. We took the mickey out of each other. It was one-upmanship. Maybe I'd have done the same. But I do remember feeling that is the last time I'm going to open up about my emotions to my closest friends, because you just can't trust them. You just can't trust them. And that belief formed part of what I call my man code. Now, my man code was a survival mechanism. It was my blueprint for survival in school and also in later life. And it looks something like this. Rule 1, do not cry or show any weakness to your friends, no matter what. Just too risky. Rule 2, compete about just about anything. The strongest, the fastest, the hardest, in my case, the funniest. Be funny. People will like you if you're funny, so whatever you do, try and be funny. Number 4, be cool and aloof. Definitely don't tell a girl if you fancy her. And absolutely don't tell one of your best mates how much you really like them or maybe even love them. Why? Because of the fear of appearing gay. Rule 5, pretend to be hard and tough, even if you're not. I'm not, but pretend to be hard and tough. Okay, so this was, I think, typical for a lot of men growing up. And then 3 years ago, I started to research this. And I want to share with you this evening 3 pieces of research that really helped me understand and shed light on a really important thing. The first was by a lady called Dr. Judy Chu. Now, she's a New York professor, and she wrote a book about the messages that boys were receiving very early in life. And she said from as early as preschool, boys are getting the message, it's not safe, do not show emotions such as sadness, fear, or pain. As early as preschool. I then continued my research. Dr. Naomi Way, who was looking at relationships in boys, friendships, in adolescence. And noticed by late teens, that interest was starting to wane. Again, why? Because of the repeated messages. To want such a thing, to need such a thing is immature, babyish, girly, or gay. Strong messages. You start to see how difficult it is for a lot of men to build these strong emotional connections with other men. Now, a third piece of research was from the question that I had, which was, is this just a UK thing, or is it worldwide? And I came across the work of Dr. Geert Hofstede. He's a Dutch social psychologist. And he had the same question, and he researched it. Thank goodness I didn't have to research it myself, he's done it. And he's produced this wonderful map, which I'll show you in a moment. And he has very masculine societies and very feminine societies. Very masculine societies are the ones where there's a clear distinction, whereas men cannot express certain emotions, women can. And in the more feminine societies, there's more fluidity. There's no real great distinction depending on gender. So, let's have a look at the results. He's mapped this, literally mapped it. Now have a look at the ones that are particularly dark. These are the ones that are the most masculine of all cultures. And along with China, Mexico, Germany, Italy, what have you got? UK. The UK is one of the most masculine thinking in society, of societies, of cultures. But then have a look at the ones that are lighter in colour. Some of our neighbouring countries. Portugal, the Netherlands, the Nordics. These are very much more feminine societies. And what Hofstede says in those societies, there's a much greater emphasis on emotional communication, on men being able to do that. Now I think it's time to start listening to some of our neighbours. I want to share with you a story from further afield, from Western Samoa. One of the other presenters shared this story with me, and I'm going to hopefully do it justice. So he had a friend that came all the way over from Western Samoa. He obviously wanted to mix and fit in, but he found male friendships really confusing. He said, what I notice in your culture is that you guys seem to really like each other. I sense there might even be some love between you. But you're so mean to each other. And you're horrible to each other. You put each other down under the banner of banter. And then he says, in my culture, what we do is if we really like somebody, if we really love somebody like a brother, we'll hold them. We'll hold them. And maybe we'll hold that embrace until we both cry because of the connection that we've got. I think, wow, how different that is. Now, I love banter, but I do recognise that it could be a defence mechanism. And do you know what? I want some of that. And is that too much of a thing to want to ask, to want in your life? So where did this take me? Where did I go from here? After doing my research, I started to think about the effect this was having on a lot of men. So if you restrict men, if you straitjacket their emotions and say, okay, you can express those little bits, what do you think is going to happen? Loneliness, depression, anger, addictions, suicide. Let's have a look at the data. The sad thing is about all of this, some of those suicides could be prevented if men didn't feel such shame about sharing their troubles with others. Didn't feel such shame about sharing their troubles with others. So what choice do we have? Many of us have to don the mask. I'll tell you about my male code. I'll tell you how it played out. So there I was on the eve of going off to university. I'm 18 years old and my mum asked to speak to me. And she holds my hands and she looks me right in the eyes and says, "You are such a sensitive man. Please don't lose that." And I reassured her, "Of course I won't. I'll be true to my heart." Guess what? I spent 25 years of my life masking that sensitivity. Why would I do that? I was ashamed of it. I was embarrassed of it. I saw it as a weakness. So I put my mask on. My mask was the joker, the funny guy. He wanted to be out all night, loads of friends, never seemed to have any trouble drinking, drug taking. That was me, that was my life. And if you'd have seen me, you'd have said, "There goes a happy man." If you'd have known me, you'd have realised that there goes a guy who's becoming increasingly sad, lonely, and lost. I desperately wanted a deeper connection with my friends, with my relationships, but they just keep breaking down. I got married, it lasted 2 years. Our unexplored shadows smashed into each other. We couldn't be vulnerable with each other. I lost access to my daughter. These were dark times. Not once in those times did I put my hands up and lean into those friendships. I had a load of mates around me. Not once did I put my hand up and say, "Help. I need your help." Not once. Why? Why wouldn't I do that? I didn't want to burden them with my grief. I didn't want to burden them with my grief. I don't know about you, but for perhaps the women in the audience who have these strong emotional networks, that's when you're going to lean in, right? But what did I do? I retreated. I went into my cave and I tried to figure it out for myself. And I got lost in that cave and I went to some dark places. And eventually I thought, I've got to get out of this. I've got to take myself away. And I took myself on a retreat. It was a personal development retreat, and I went to Greece just to clear my head. And that's where I was introduced to sharing circles. For those who haven't experienced them before, it's where people are literally in a circle and you open up about what's going on for you. And you speak from the heart. And that was the first time in my life that I allowed people to see that vulnerability. And I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed and I sobbed. I was broken. How had life worked out like this? It wasn't meant to be like this. And I remember thinking how nice it was to hear other people share from the heart as well, especially from the other men, because it was new to me. I'd never experienced that. But that breakdown or breakthrough moment for me was the beginning of my transformation. I stand here now as a grounded man, a man with a clear sense of purpose, has a good relationship with his ex-wife, wonderful relationship with his daughter, and what joy that brings to me. An amazing new relationship with my partner, who can hold me in those moments of vulnerability. Because this isn't just about men. This is about women also allowing their men to be vulnerable in those moments. And I've also got a network of open-hearted men around me who encourage me to be the best version of myself. So a little bit about that transformation. First of all, I had to take full responsibility for my part to play in where I'd ended up. Stop blaming everybody else. I had to start digging into my own psyche, the shadowy, lurking parts that I'd suppressed and denied for so long. And in there I found some real gold. And that gold dust that I found was that when I share my vulnerability, it allows other people to deeply connect with who I am. The thing I've been craving all my life, that deep connection. The fourth part, join a men's circle. What on earth is a men's circle, some of you might be saying? Let me tell you, a circle of men is when men come together with the intention, clear intention of supporting each other, to enable each other to grow and develop as men, and figure out what it really means to be a man. From my experience, when men drop the mask and they share from the heart, not from boastful claims about what the victories are, what they just achieved, but from the heart about what they care about, what they're worried about. Maybe the joy of a new relationship, maybe the fear of a parent dying, maybe the struggle to raise a child the way you want. When they share from that place, You can almost hear it in the room, the collective sigh of relief. Ah, thank God for that. We can start being real with each other. At last, we can start to emotionally support each other, be real, and experience brotherhood for the first time. If you ask most men to open up in that way, they will run a mile. A few years ago, I'd done the same. They'll run a mile. If you were to ask those men, do you want a deeper connection with the loved ones in your life? Do you want a deeper connection with them? And do you have a clear sense of purpose? You want that. And a few might start to turn their head. And I would say, there goes a courageous man. Because it takes a lot for a man to put his hands in the air and say, I want a deeper connection with others, especially with other men. So what have I learned from all of this? I've learned you don't have to live up to some societal expectation of what it means to be a man. I know that I do want a deeper connection, and I have that now, and I know it brings me such richness in life. Men, more than ever, are being asked to be emotionally intelligent, and hanging on to that old narrative of what it means to be a man isn't equipping them for the complex world of relationships in life. Imagine, back in Wembley Stadium, if I could have turned to my mate, eyes streaming, and he could have witnessed that, we could have shared that beautiful experience for what it was. Imagine that. So if this talks to you in some way, perhaps you know of a man who could benefit from this more emotional intimacy, then I'd encourage you to ask them to find their nearest men's group, and they'll get such a warm welcome. If that's too much of a stretch, then ask them to continue this conversation. And in doing that, they'll become part of a growing movement to redefine a masculinity that is fit for the modern age, that has greater emotional freedom and honours the humanity in all of us. Thank you.